continue to encourage him to into his antics. He'd spank his ass with it. Tell him, you know what, you're not going to fight in the event, in the finale. What you're going to do is you're going to take anger management classes, and we're going to see a shrink, and we're going to find out what the hell your problem is. Because unfortunately, and this is something that doesn't happen, and I've discussed this with the Las Vegas Athletic Commission before, when we were back at the old over at the Demento show, when we were dealing with that guy that had psychotropic drugs in him that was dealing with his ADD. They will test you for steroids. They will test you for recreational drugs, but there's no testing for the psychological stability of a fighter, which is pretty good, because a lot of us that fought and fight are a little unhinged to begin with.
He's probably bipolar. I can almost guarantee he's bipolar.
He might just be, well, yeah, bipolar and something. But yeah, I mean, and I didn't want to. I'm sorry, that was wrong. I'm sorry. To my lesbian and gay friends, I didn't mean it. I'm sorry.
Speaking of lesbian and gay friends, I believe that there's some of you in the room that will not be going to work tomorrow. I was not aware of this special holiday tomorrow until somebody else gave me...
I tell them I did it.
...input on it, but tomorrow is the do not go to work if you're a gay or a lesbian day.
It's called Day Without a Gay. And basically, it's in response.
A day without a gay.
What it's supposed to be doing is it's a reaction to the passing of a Proposition 8 out here, which took away the ability to. Oh my Lord, the hoe is in the house. Speaking of, anyway, Jobber caught on.
Whoa.
Anyway, what is Proposition H out here in California made marriage between same-sex couples illegal. So
was that proper? What was that? Preparation HIV?
Anyway, what they're doing is something similar to what the Mexicans did out here many years back. They had a Day Without a Mexican. Actually, there's a really cool movie out called I think Life Without a Mexican or Day Without a Mexican. And basically what they want to do is to economically hit the economy and say, look, this is what would happen. This is how much we gay people, and in the case of the Mexicans, Americans here, the Mexicans as well, this is how much impact our people have if we weren't here. And so they're being encouraged not to go shopping in places that they know are not owned and operated by gay or lesbian couples and things of this nature. I know where they're going with this, and I support what they're doing. I just don't know. I just don't know that it's going to have that big of an impact. And I know damn well this doesn't have anything to do with MMA and stuff like that. But you brought it up. We talked about it. There you go.
Moving right along.
Now we were talking about Junie Browning, okay?
Yeah.
And now that's the crap end of the UFC. Let's talk about something really nice that the UFC does, okay? Tomorrow night, Wednesday night, we have Fight Night for the Troops. Now that's 3 hours. That's a 3-hour live event on Spike, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern. Okay, this is free, guys. And this is all to raise money for the National Intrepid Center of Excellence. Okay, this is to deal with returning soldiers who have brain injuries and things of this nature. Now the card is in my opinion pretty damn awesome, but even with a nice card, it has a really effed up twist to it, which I'll get to in a second. Main event: Josh Koscheck versus Yoshida. This is going to be a throwdown, people. This is going to be worth the price of any admission that you'd pay, and there's a lot of them on here. This is just going to be fantastic. Yoshida is a great fighter. Koscheck is growing daily. I mean, this guy, every time he fights, whether he wins or loses, he grows. Then you got Mike Swift, Mike Swick versus Jonathan Goulet. Good fight. I'm looking for Swick to take this one. You've got Razak Al Hassan. You got Steve Cantwell. You got Mike Credeur, who's coming back. Haven't seen him for a while. Good to see him back. He was on one of the Ultimate Fighters. Jim Miller, Matt Whitman, Luigi. I love this guy. Luigi Fioravanti. I just love this guy. He looks like a monkey, but he does. He looks like a little monkey. He looks like one of those macaque monkeys. And against Brody Farber. Those two now, I'm telling you right now, that fight right there at 170 pounds is going to be an ass-kicking fight. Expect some nastiness out of that. Those boys love to throw down. And then there's another fight further down. I'm hoping we actually get to see this. Ben Sanders, Saunders is going to be fighting Brandon Wolf. That should be an interesting fight too. Saunders is another guy that he calls himself the Killer Bee. Yeah, whatever. This guy looks like I don't know. I'm not even going to say. He's just an odd-looking character. Okay, but now this is all good, and this is for such a good cause, and it's a wonderful thing. But there's an insidious underpinning to this, and that being that if you remember about a week or so back, I reported that there was a fighter that Dana White fired because he wouldn't sign a contract for a video game. Remember that, Dave?
Yes.
Okay, and Dana got called on we reported here, got it first. I reported that Dana got called on the carpet, got a leash put on him, right?
His dick stepped on.
Exactly, and the guy was hired back. But it also, the threat was always there that the other members of that team, the AKA team, that have not signed their contracts for the video game might be let go also. Well, Josh Koscheck is one of those guys. Now, he has not, and has stated he will not sign away the deal as it is being presented to them, which, again, what they're saying is that the contract states that you do not have right to your image or your likeness in perpetuity. In other words, if Josh were, for whatever reason, left the UFC, went to another organization that had a video game contract with another company, and Josh could be their champion, but that organization could not use his likeness or his name in their video game. Okay, so he's not going to sign this. Now, here's the deal. This is a rumor that from what I'm hearing anyway, is a hard rumor that's got a lot of truth to it. And quite frankly, I'm beginning to think that maybe this actually will be true. We'll find out. If Josh loses, okay, his time with the UFC may be over. He may be going elsewhere. But here's the part of the rumor that just really messes me up, is that even if he wins, he may be gone unless he signs that contract. And I'm sorry, that man has put so much of his time, so much of his effort from The Ultimate Fighter to now to have his career hinge on whether or not he's going to sign his likeness and his name away for perpetuity so that the UFC could make a lot of money and he could make a pittance. I'm sorry, that's just stupid as hell, and Dana White's an F-head.
Well, let me ask you this about that contract, because I was actually thinking about that here and there over the last few days. Since you've mentioned it, and it's still going around, the sheets around there. Do you think maybe it was a gut check from Dana White to say, okay, I want to see who's really dedicated to UFC and who's just in it to make a better name for themselves in case something else comes up, or maybe market themselves a little more. Maybe he wants to see who is actually a corporate player, a team player that will sign one of these contracts and become basically a franchise player, using NFL terms, to see, hey, who really is interested in being in UFC as opposed to being. Who'd rather be around a lot, maybe play, fight a lot of big cards, and be a company employee.
I can see where that's coming from, but in a way that's hypocritical, because when you're in the UFC, you get tied up in an exclusive contract, whereas with other organizations, you're allowed to fight outside of the organization when you're not fighting for them. You have to give whatever organization you do have a limited contract with, you have to give them precedence, a preference. But you can at least go outside and make a living elsewhere. If Dana White decides that he's going to sit on your contract, then you sit on your contract. Okay, that doesn't mean you get paid. It's not like in like WWE where you have a guarantee. You have a base pay where if you're out sick and stuff, you get the base pay when you're not performing. And then they sit on you until your contract expires. Then they let you go, and you can perform for somebody else. That's not like it is here. You're on. You're told that you're given, let's say, 4 fights a year, okay, at X amount of dollars. But if for whatever reason they decide not to, and this is the way the contracts are written, if Dana White and the UFC decides to sit on you,